being a dick.
Yep.
All right.
You really need to let me do more of that. You're like, let you? Didn't realize I wasn't, first of all, but...
Yeah, I mean... we're going to get started now. So welcome to the next episode of the WIP cast. We still haven't come up with a name yet.
Here, I have a couple thoughts, okay?
All right, lay them on me.
Why not call it the American Airlines cast?
I like the ring of that. It's patriotic.
It's alliterative.
Yeah, and also people get the image of things ascending, like our stardom on the internet.
Plus, it's, a visual representation of an ability to take you places.
Yeah!
Especially for the episode where we drafted countries.
Yeah, man!
It's like it's a worldwide phenomenon.
Dude, that's the perfect name. So, welcome to the first episode of the American Airlines podcast. Hang on a second, look at my phone here. We just got a message from American Airlines Inc., it says, and we cannot utilize their name. They are an actual company. Apparently, they fly planes everywhere.
That doesn't make any sense.
It fucking doesn't.
That is... Well, okay. Well, back to the drawing board.
Yeah, so...
Anyway, I guess welcome nonetheless.
Yeah, and we'll try to come up with a better name next time. We'll just get back to the drawing board. So, tell me, what'd you do this week?
Not much. It's super awesome, happy, fun... laser robot explosion time financial rollover season at work.
Oh, damn.
And since I'm in finance, that's what I'm doing. Getting prepped for the new fiscal year. God damn, it's exciting.
All right, you can't do that down there.
What? She's fine.
She's knocking around the table.
Well, whatever.
Whatever. Our dog is here.
Yeah, quick note. We have a new third member. Please
she will
welcome
be contributing.
Our beautiful puppy. She will be contributing as much as she wants to.
Yeah, by...
Who's a special little girl?
Who's special?
Who's the Bozers? Anyway, if you hear any weird panting, it's not either of us
getting crazy horny.
Or out of shape levels of disgusting, pathetic, excited about the topic. It's just the dog. Figured it had some character and give you something actually fun to listen to.
Because everybody loves a dog.
Ah, exactly.
All right, so is that all you did this week?
Yeah, pretty much. My ankle's been fucking bothering me for a little while, so it's been...
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been limiting my ability to do much else, so it's pretty much been, work and then hang out at home.
Just, taking care of your ankle?
Yeah, just, stay off it and hang out, so... I've been catching up on TV. I watched all of the Archers from this season again. Great season so far.
Yeah, seriously, I've been losing it for that show. It's coming back.
Yeah, last season, the Archer Vice season, worthless.
It's funny too,
so bad
because we were talking about it when the season started, and I was like, they're selling an image of a better show, and then they don't make that show.
Well, and yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny though because this season not only has the writing gotten better.
Hold on, guys. We're going on to the Archer cast right now.
I would love to.
I think The Escapist already does something like that. Anyway.
But, I feel like the art has been better this season.
It really has.
The visuals this season have been really striking.
Yep.
And I've always loved, their character design.
Oh, yeah.
In this last one, spoilers, where Barry...
yeah, and he has,
changes his flight plans and then, needs warm weather clothes, but since he's at the Chicago airport...
He's only getting,
the only thing is, he can get our, Chicago Bears toques and scarves and a jacket.
Yep.
It's awesome.
It is funny. And it shows dedication to, whatever they're doing. I mean, I'm sure they have a big budget by now because it's people watch FX for this reason.
Yeah. It's definitely I'm not sure by the numbers what their most popular show is. I would guess it's probably Sunny.
Oh, yeah. That's on FXX now, I think.
And then, I guess the other ones could be, Sons of Anarchy or whatever.
I don't even know what's on that network. Justified just started its final season.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, that's the thing. Nobody knows. They're too busy watching Archer and Sunny.
Yeah, well, and then, yeah.
All right.
But yeah, so hanging out, watching Archer, playing some old Command & Conquer to pass the time.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's been a really not rewarding week, but the only way I can function.
There you go.
Hooray! How about you?
I've been drawing like a madman.
What?
Other than other times,
you're some sort of artist or something.
Seriously, I mean, who do I think I am?
Yeah.
You? Anyway, who do you think I am? Me? No, but we're actually recording it the day of. But I've been making a big kind of push toward going to a webcomic I've been trying to make for a while now, and finally getting that started. So the last 2 weeks have been me just constantly refreshing and taking a look at and illustrating the very first chapter. So the very first chapter is now complete, and it's getting posted today. So I'm super excited about that.
Nice. That'll be cool. It's always cool to do your own thing.
Yeah.
And I find, when that level of inspiration hits you, I like that you were worried about the dog. You just popped your neck. I bet that picked up.
I can cut that out.
I don't care. You don't have to. God, you're such an audiophile.
I know.
So gross.
Good quality audio just gets my dick all hard.
Realistically, I would be fine if I hummed the mic every 3 seconds during this, and all you heard in the background was the low, dull, me humping the mic sound. And then it came through, and I'd be like, whatever, you still heard the cool words. Was it good for you, baby? And then you smoke a cigarette wherever you are. Anyway.
Other things I did this week.
Yeah.
So it's basically, it's the culmination of a thing that I've been wanting to do for a while now, so I'm finally getting started to do it.
Nice.
It's just really funny how this year, to me, has been it's just the ending of January, and it's already been, to me, a bit more fulfilling, and I've been more passionate about things, and I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of caught up in the spirit of the whole New Year's, let's do something right, this whole thing, but at the end, you don't need an excuse to do good work and try to improve your life and make things better, so I'm finally trying to take that seriously, and I think it's working.
Good, that's awesome to hear. There's really nothing cynical I could say about that, even if I wanted to. That's straight up awesome.
You're just going to keep humping the mic, aren't you?
Yeah, well, that's because I'm happy. That's what I do when I get happy. It makes work and relationships really difficult.
So many goddamn spikes right there.
Well, it's because,
I'm so happy. I don't care about that anymore. All right. So, you know what? We should just jump straight into the topic.
Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah.
All right.
Good one.
Good one.
Way to start off the new year with a great job.
All right, so...
Although this isn't our first new year.
Well, yeah, the last one...
I know.
Was it? Now I have to actually go, see it again.
It was this year.
Yeah, okay, cool. So... kind of follow. This actually seems to me a bit more like a follow-up of the last thing we did.
A little bit.
Because it's talking about things that we both have an understanding of, and that's sports and art/video games. So we're going to be talking about the nature of simulation sports video games today. We both have very different, unique perspectives on it, and so we're just going to talk about that today.
Yeah. Well, and I would even take a step back and call it just sports video games, period.
Yeah, they've always had a place, especially in our childhood, ever since we started playing games.
Well, and I would argue they're one of the larger, if you had to set out, and you saw this in the early industry, if you had to set out to make a handful of games, what wide, overarching themes would you pick? There'd be some form of, combat, like tank combat or ship combat or something like that.
Yeah, like the Atari game Combat, where you could be an airplane, an airplane, a boat, or a tank.
You could be the ground.
You can be the clouds. You can rain on people.
Dude, Cloud is so fucking OP.
That is so... Dude, seriously. All it does is rain shit, and sometimes
it just
snows.
phases through you. It's so God,
and it's just, it's just water, but it's just for, the people who just, friggin' run in with, Pyro and Team Fortress. Just, die.
I don't know what that means. I haven't played Team Fortress.
Whatever. Dude, that game's awesome.
Wow.
I got invited to play, pro level. That's cool.
Whoa. Now you're the one that needs to start humping the mic out of happiness. Alright, slow down. No one can hump that fast. Except for a hump robot. But, I mean, that was his only purpose. But
we had to put him down.
But, there were combat games.
Yeah.
There were, fantasy, sword and dungeon games.
Yeah.
There were, shooting games. And then, sports. Because sports are a big thing. They're a huge part of our society, and the industry reflects that. Yeah,
it's funny when you go back and look at the Atari games and stuff, and it's Atari presents hockey,
golf.
Yep, mini golf, where you're just a square pushing a smaller square towards another square.
Wow.
Good old Atari.
That sounds amazing.
We have come a long way. So, getting to the core message that we both have very different opinions on this entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
I myself am not... I was a latecomer to even watching sports in the first place, so sports games didn't really appeal to me as a kid. I was more into playing games like, Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario Brothers and stuff.
It makes a difference.
Yeah, and I don't know. It just, to me... my initial understanding was, why would I bother playing a sports video game when I can just feasibly go outside and go play the sport itself?
Oh, yeah? How often did you end up doing that?
I never did, because I was never interested in doing it.
I never did either, but I still liked the games.
I know, but that's actually going to tie into a couple of points I'm going to make down the road later, but you enjoyed them as a child. So.
Yeah, well, and I still do. Sports games are outstanding. I think you're right that liking sports, period, makes a difference, and it kind of helps with the appreciation, helps with the enjoyment, helps with even the desire to play them, right? Because, shit, dude, I remember in college for, a year and a half in, the dorms and then, the year after, whenever you were just hanging out and chilling with a group of people, you were playing Halo 2 or Madden, whatever, yeah. Madden 05, 06. I'm dating myself a little bit, but that's all it was. And it was just people would get so inexplicably, almost pathetically good at Madden. But the reason is it's cool, it's fun. People like sports games. They're social, they're multiplayer. They approximate the teams and players you see and in real life. There's a lot to like. Yeah, and it's funny too because that's one of the things that even I looked at when I was actually thinking about doing this topic was. I've played sports games and enjoyed them. My favorite hockey game of all time is Blades of Steel. Oh, great game!
And one of my favorite football games of all time is the Tecmo Bowl games. And so and what's funny too is that it kind of represents a different kind of paradigm in terms of how you enjoy sports games and stuff. Because at the time, Tecmo Super Bowl actually had current rosters and stuff, and and had actually approximations of how good teams were based on their skills and shit.
I mean, especially when you consider the New York Giants in that game,
where
their defense was insane, and it's strictly because you literally can't stop
LT.
Lawrence Taylor. And then on the flip side, you've got Bo Jackson on the Raiders, who literally can't be stopped in the right situations.
Yep.
And QB Eagles, aka Randall Cunningham for the Eagles, who was a running quarterback before that was really even a thing in football. There were some, but he was great at it. And oh man, that game was those teams and players were super OP.
It's interesting too how when we start talking about it, we start waxing nostalgic about it too.
Oh, because great though.
I think about Blades of Steel more often because it didn't have a players association. It just said you're going to play as New York or Minnesota or these things. But to me, that didn't cut out any enjoyment whatsoever of playing the game.
Right. Well, and even the simplicity of it, you would think with historical perspective and context to be it's a little simple, and it is. Blades of Steel is not a hard game.
Yeah, and it's actually ties into my first kind of beef I have with modern sports games now. It's a continued push to make everything so lifelike and real that to me it's actually a detriment to the way you play it, because people who play the game continually every year are going to be good at it no matter what. And so whatever changes, it's they just changed that a little bit, so I'm going to know how to do it better or do it differently. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I don't like games that feel that way.
How is that any different, though? How is that any different than the past?
Because one of the
mechanics of all of those old games were so simple. You could end up learning exactly how to play them.
Right, but the thing that made it better was that it felt more like an actual video game. It wasn't trying to approximate human movement. The biggest case that I have for this is my recent venture with FIFA. I bought FIFA 14 for my Xbox One.
Love FIFA.
And for a while, I actually loved it too. I thought it was pretty great. I was like, oh my god, it's an actual soccer experience and it's fun to play. And it was for a while. And then I started noticing things that I didn't like about the game, and it suddenly became more hurdles for me to jump over.
Like what?
The way people move in that game is very human. They shift their weight and have to move around and do all sorts of stuff like that. But to me, when I'm playing a game, I don't like that feeling. I do not like the feeling of that.
Physics?
I hate that.
You hate physics?
Yes.
What?
I hate physics in games like that because to me, whenever I play a video game and I push a button, something better happen right away.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it does make sense because that's how all games work.
Alright, then explain Castlevania.
Because, that's an actual thing that's designed to do that.
So is FIFA.
Yeah, but FIFA, it's one of those different things where it's a different kind of situation. There's not, I don't know. Like, this might be just pulling shit out of my ass. I was
Wow.
going to say that.
Wow.
Okay.
Way to keep it highbrow, buddy.
Okay.
So much for my proposal to rename this New Yorker cast.
Ugh. I'll get my monocles.
And then produce, like, 3 really haughty, really obnoxious comics a week.
Nah, I could do those.
That'd be awesome.
Shit, I should probably send some stuff to those
New
people.
Yorker theme week. We should do that.
That'd be awesome.
And I'll just draw all my comics in paint. And then give, like, stupid, pithy quotes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so, but, like, that's the thing for me is, like, my experience, it's a matter of an experience that you want out of something. Like, to me, my brain still goes back to, like, classical sports games that played, like, on even Genesis and stuff like that, NES, like, arcade sports style games.
Right.
Like, my favorite soccer game is the one that came out for the Neo Geo in the arcade, Super Sidekicks 3, because if you look at
Classic
that...
Neo Geo game.
I fucking love that game so much.
Neo Turf Masters. Golf. Duh.
Oh, I love that.
So dope.
Playing it on Game Grumps, I'm watching that.
Nice.
But the thing is that for me, a video game experience is something that you kind of want a disconnect from reality. You want something to be a bit more over the top. So, like, when I hit push a direction in that game, I'm just like jumping everywhere.
Right.
And so I'll take something that's snappier and not necessarily realistic if it plays better, because you can adapt to something. You can adapt to a way like a person plays in a video game that's meant to be more simulation-y. You can say, like, oh, he's going to have a bit of delay when he does this, so if I know the button presses to do that, I can avoid it.
Okay.
So it's a matter of thinking ahead, kind of, with more experience you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's a weird, like, shift of values. I don't really want to do that in my sports game. I'd rather focus on the more exciting parts of the game, like scoring a lot of goals, friggin' like getting set on fire, NBA Jam style and shit.
Well,
because, like, it's... Okay, you say
you're
something.
differentiating between the wrong things. Like, I'm not sitting here arguing that simulation sports games are categorically better than arcadey ones. Everyone and their fucking mother loves NBA Jam.
NFL Blitz.
Everyone loves NFL Blitz. Everyone loved Wayne Gretzky's hockey on the N64 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Which even had a simulation option.
all of these, like, arcade-style games, like, those are great, and they have their place, but, like, that's never what FIFA was meant to do, and that doesn't make it worse. And, like, the control system or whatever, and doesn't make it worse. It's just a thing you have to learn.
And
like, every game has a learning curve.
Right.
When
And
you're playing, like, Halo versus, like, Modern Warfare, the controls are imperceptibly different in a lot of little ways in terms of movement, but the button layout's different. So for, like, the first 30 minutes to an hour you're playing, you're like, shit, I meant to melee that guy, and I threw a grenade, and I threw up on myself, and I'm dead. Sure. And, like, whatever, that's how you learn.
Right, but there's still, to me, it's a matter of, like, kind of a difference of learning curve, because it's a matter of, like, pushing a different button, it's like, oh, that's different, so boom, you learn that. But in terms of, like, thinking ahead and kind of planning out, like, I don't appreciate it. Like, that's the core message it's all really come down to. But it's a matter of preference. Like, there's a reason that FIFA and Madden and NHL and NBA, whatever game that comes out, simulation sports games have their place, and they have the people that they cater to, and I am totally fine with that. But to me, there's a bunch of different things which we're going to talk about, that I find kind of bad about them. But the other thing that was cool, too, was that we did get those NFL blitzes. We did get those NBA jams and arcade sports games, but now we really don't. Right. And even time we do get one, it's like a half measure. Well, so that feels kind of shitty.
Then let me ask you this. Why do you think that hasn't happened?
What do you mean?
Why do you think they don't make those anymore?
Well, some people would say, like, the audience doesn't want them anymore. Mm-hmm. And I would actually...
my argument.
I would agree to some sense that it does, because if you look at the kind of people who play video games now, it looks like the entire dynamic has been completely broken in two. There's the casuals and the hardcores, which are two things I hate.
Yeah. It's a pretty pointless, like, schism to make, but it kind of exists, I guess.
So basically, when you have, like, that kind of divide, it seems like if you want to play a sports game, you better damn well play the realistic approximation of sports broadcast game, because that's the only one we make.
See, now you're just being snotty about it.
No, because that's what it is. But
whatever, that's awesome.
It's cool for the people who want that, but for the people who want something else, it's like an underserved demographic. You know what I mean?
It sucks for you. Buy more of the games when they come out.
I do,
well, but I don't mean you. I mean the collective you.
I know, but here's the funny thing about that, though, is that I think there's like a weird undercurrent of people who are just like, well, I don't play sports games because when are those ever going to be fun? And then, like, when a new Blitz comes out and it's okay, you're just like, don't even give it a chance.
Yeah, well, and like they remade like RBI baseball, the old classic Nintendo game.
I saw
for
that.
digital download or whatever. And I don't have any figures in front of me because I didn't research it and I didn't think about it ahead of time, and I refuse to do any research for these. But I'm sure it didn't do crazy well, and it's partially because it's well, this is a weird, sort of annoying hybrid between the two worlds of nostalgia of the times when games were simpler and more arcadey, mostly because they had to be. You couldn't have had the complexity of modern sports games back in the day. But then, I don't know, it's not necessarily something that people look for anymore.
To me, I think it's actually a funny thing how you said complexity, because sports games to me have a very upfront complexity. It's a learning curve of how you have to play a game in order to play it well and then win. What's funny was we were talking about before this when you played NHL 15, and there are still ways you can just exploit the game to get goals all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's just kind of sloppy design. But
whatever.
To me, that's sloppy design.
Well, then how about Blades of Steel, your favorite game?
Because
there's one way to score in that, and it's you just go up there and you just wait.
Yeah.
And so, is that better?
It's better balanced.
How so?
Because you control the goalie, too. But also because...
You don't control the goalie.
Yes, you do.
I guess you do, don't you?
Yeah.
Still.
It's because simplicity can be found a very good answer for certain things, I think. Because it answers a lot of really shitty questions, because if you start leaving yourself open to all of these possible scenarios, it's just whatever, just make it this. You either go in or you go out and have variables for that, and that's how you design your game around that.
But that's not enough to keep people happy.
Why
people
not?
What do you mean why not? Because if you're a sports fan, you don't want to play go up, hit B, and score a goal. You want to skate in along...
Well, who says you're going to score a goal?
You're going to skate... Whatever.
Because there's defense.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You want to skate in along the boards, and you want your center to go behind the net, and you want to cycle it around, and you want to find the point man who, his guy has vacated away because he collapsed down to go play near the net, and your point man streaks forward and launches a slapper in, and you score from, close to the point. And it sounds more complex, but if you're a hockey fan, that's what you want, because that's how it's done, and it's so much more rewarding to pull that off than it would be to be hit B to score, you score!
No, because it's not binary in that way. There are variables that...
I get it's not 100%
As you're
binary.
describing it, I'm actually designing it in my head and how that would work, and it's actually just another variable on top of another one.
You mean the press B to score game?
Well, that'd be a fun game, because you'd always win.
B,
but
B,
B, B, B, B, B, B, B,
G.
I can push it faster, I'm winning more!
Yeah, right.
But, it's just a matter of design. You know what I'm saying?
I guess so.
Because the way you just described it to me, well, the way I'm actually describing it is that in terms of design, whenever you have something kind of set, you iterate on it, and so you add things, you take some things away, you polish it, right?
Right.
And so when I hear that you can still because that's an exploit, a trick that's been around since we played in the Genesis days. It seems like it. You just go right, then kind of cycle left. Your goalie's hanging out over here. Oh no! Backhand, then you score.
Yeah.
So the fact that kind of problem can still remain seems weird to me.
So, but then what you're expecting in that case is perfection, and
I'm not expecting
your answer
perfection.
seems to be blow it all away and go back to the Byzantine era of sports games.
No,
which isn't right.
What I'm saying is that if you're going to have an entire franchise based on yearly installments. That shit, if it's a problem, which it kind of becomes a problem if you're playing online and shits, which is glitch the glitch all the way through the glitch zone, it's shitty. Because to me, there's more exciting things happening within more simple mechanics than there is with more complicated mechanics, ever.
I'd say it's more approachable, but I don't think that makes it more exciting. I think it's way more exciting to master a thing that's harder, and then the payoff is that much sweeter at the end, because you set up a goal. And glitchy style glitch goals notwithstanding, there are still so many realistic ways to score. You set up a beautiful one-timer through the slot and you score. Or in FIFA, you streak down the side and you work past a guy, you spin
that
away.
Chelsea goal we saw today?
Yeah, right? And
holy shit.
You just deliver a cross into the box and your guy heads it in, streaking across the defense. There's nothing arcadey about it per se, but it feels good to do what happens in real life. You're yep, that's how it works.
But it's for me. Then the actual paradigm of it being a game comes in, and there's the theory of dominant strategy.
Well, I mean, it's only dominant strategy if you can always do it, which isn't the
seems
case.
like you can. Sometimes you miss like once or twice, but it's like boom, boom, boom.
No, it's not like pushing a button. Like you still.
No,
have
it's not a matter of pushing a button. Okay, Blades of Steel, it has that little sliding arrow, and you control your goalie, and there's defense. Those are all the variables in play when you try to score a goal. It's not just push B to go.
Right.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but in like NHL, the defense for letting those happen is go stop the guy from getting into that spot. Like,
also, what's interesting about current sports game design is like the AI is shitty for your team.
well, that is a problem. That's been a problem for years.
So, like, if you want to set up those perfect goals,
well, it's easier against the computer, but like in that sense, then it cuts both ways. Like,
yeah.
So maybe that's a problem, but again, you can't expect perfection out of everything. Like, if you
iterated every single year and charged $60 for every person to get that like small like crawl forward in some way, it should be perfect by now.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
It makes sense.
That's expecting, dude. Why isn't no game is perfect? That's a completely unreasonable expectation.
I don't know. I mean, when I think about it, like like Call of Duty for me. Like, I view sports games as Call of Duty games, like, in the same category now, because they're pretty much released every year now. In terms of the formula, Call of Duty as a shooter is down to, like, a perfect science. Like, you can say what you will if you only play the multiplayer mode or actually bother to go through the career mode and stuff like that, but everything in that game is designed to be just instantaneously like, I know exactly what I'm doing, this is fun.
Yeah.
And the reason is because they have so many sequels coming out that they've actually, like, it didn't start out perfect. It didn't even start anywhere near perfect, but it had a formula and it iterated every single time that it got there.
Well, what makes it perfect in your mind, then? Like, you can't, that's kind of apples and oranges. Like,
it is apples and oranges, but it's a similar principle.
But, like, enemy AI in Call of Duty is nowhere near as complicated as 12 hockey players or 22, football players AI worth, where it's like there's a sophisticated interaction. And there, to me,
what you just described is the problem with kind of going for that realism and trying to set up that perfect real life experience, because it's not real life. So trying to strive for something like that kind of is like suicidal.
What a nihilistic perspective, though.
What do you mean?
Well, why strive for it? Because they're still fun.
They're still fun for a certain group of people.
And so because if you wanted to play...
But if the same problems exist from like the time that you played it when you were a kid, like, you should be demanding more for your $60 you pay every year.
Yeah, the difference is you can do something about the problems now. There are ways to counteract them all.
How?
They've gotten sufficiently complicated where if there's like a dominant strategy, quote unquote, then you adjust. You try to counteract the strategy. You don't let the guy start cradling the puck in the slot so he can beat you with a, wrist shot stick side high. You put a safety over the top to cover the receiver that's sprinting deep downfield. Like, there are ways you can do it. You just have to know how to do it. And that's the give and take of sports games. That's like real sports life in essence. Like, if in tomorrow's big game, I don't want to say it because I'm assuming Roger Goodell's listening.
He's going to rappel in from the window, bust in, and have like an NFL-labeled gun.
Yeah, he's going to be like, do you have the express written consent of me to mention that name? Didn't think so.
And then his brass knuckles say consent.
He's like, I'm going to Ray Rice you. And I'm like, that's insensitive! And he punches me. Anyway.
You gave consent. You've been consented.
But, like, if tomorrow in real life, Marshawn Lynch starts going crazy and he has 200 yards in the first quarter, are the Patriots going to just sit there and be like, this game's broken? Like, it doesn't make any sense. We can't counteract it.
They're
going to adjust. And that's what you do in the game, is you adjust your strategy based on what's beating you.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. When I play a game, it's just a different experience that I value. That's what it's going to come down to. Like I said before, what are the most exciting parts of like any sports game? Like scoring goals, big hits, and all sorts of crazy shit that happens in a game.
Right.
So games that are arcadey and more focused on that experience, to me, are better because they just they know what certain people value. So they're just like, I want to see over-the-top crazy shit dunks. I want to see things like big hits where people flying all over the place, because that's exciting.
Yeah, those are cool for like 10 minutes, but that's not a sustainable game. Like, you can't play that for hours and hours and hours on end all year.
Yes, you can.
Whatever, I guess you could, but no one would. Like, look at the online servers for online sports games. That's what people want, like, because that's a real game.
And our dog just got scared because I made a chair noise.
She got scared because she hates your opinions.
She got scared because she would make my foot asleep. Ow, damn.
Thanks, puppy.
Good girl for getting up. Sorry. But what were we saying?
It's adding character to the podcast.
Sure. Noise.
I'm saying it's not sustainable.
I think it is. Because here's the thing. Like, if I was a designer of any way that thought of it in terms of a design principle effect, not necessarily a business effect, here's what I would do. I would put out a sports game at the beginning of every console generation within, well enough to iterate upon, right?
Okay.
So, not at launch, but, a year later. So we have plenty of time to get associated with tools and how to develop for it. We would have our game, and it'd be the base game, this is what we have. Then, instead of releasing a new boxed product every year, it would be a year update you could get, which we would either monetize because it is a business, or give away for free that updates all rosters and statistics of the people, because all of that groundwork will have already been laid, and if anybody has any feedback, saying, hey, this strategy works a certain way, or players act this certain way, that's not necessarily, cool, we'll fix that. We'll patch that out and balance tweak it that way. Because you know who actually does that a lot? Capcom with their fighting games.
Yeah, but fighting games are different.
They're different, but the principle is still the same.
Fighting game rosters don't change year over year. There's no...
Oh, yes, they do.
There's no Marvel vs. Capcom Rookie of the Year that you want on your fantasy draft franchise.
See, but the thing is, though, it's a similar principle in terms of design.
Well, yeah, but you act like the design is completely inextricable from the business. Why would you run your business that way? You can obviously
build goodwill with your customer base.
Who the fuck cares? You can make $60 a year.
Because in the old days, you used to be able to do that. Because you could release a full package product every year to get those little tweaks and changes every single year.
Right.
That's the way you had to do it, so that's how they did it.
Right.
I'm also pointing that way to prove that that's the past over there.
I know,
but
I think that went without saying.
So in terms of EA, because people have rated EA sometimes just stupid nerd ragey ways, the worst company ever, right?
Sure.
So, but the reason is because they act like a business more than an actual game developer. When you're in an entertainment business, the way to completely diminish any goodwill with your customer base is to release a next generation version of one of your big franchises, NHL, man, whatever, with none of the features, all focused on graphics, and nothing really redeemable about it for a full $60, and say, oh, that'll be added in later. And we'll charge you for it. As
a customer, I agree it sucks, but as a moviegoer, it sucks that all summer I get fucking superhero movie Circle Jerk City every fucking year, but what do? That's the industry. That's what people want. They're not in the business of doing it for, the sake of art or design or aesthetics, as ideal as that would be.
There is something more inherently creative about, a superhero jerk-off movie than there is about a sports game at this point, I think.
Disagree. The superhero stories have been told every fucking 6 minutes in Hollywood. Everyone knows them all now.
Yeah.
What, I need another Spider-Man reboot to get the
please,
point?
God, no. Please, no.
Agreed. I'm assuming you're listening, Andrew Garfield. You should be ashamed of yourself.
You're not bad as Peter Parker, but my God.
Yeah. It's just, you're guilty by association. I'm sorry.
You're guilty by association for Sony's bullshit, and they're making the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and that makes me very concerned.
All I'm saying, they're making a Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
Yep.
Now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my, is it based on Sonic Boom?
Please, God, no.
God, I hope it is. And it's just the movie's all buggy, and every 30 minutes you just see a character flash into the screen at a diagonal angle.
We'll have 3D glasses for 3D watching and shit, but sometimes the 3D will just turn off.
Mm-hmm. Oh. God, that would actually be surprisingly awesome if they just intentionally
made a shitty movie,
a 100% artistically broken movie. They just edited in garbage, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we released it a little too early, but we had to meet the summer rush."
It's interesting because it's a matter of experiences. It's a matter of values too. Because as a customer, I would not continue to buy if I played sports games. I would not continue to buy sports games if that was the trend I was noticing. I'd be like, well, fuck you. I'm not going to play your games anymore.
Fine, and
I'll just play my older versions.
Well, and you don't have to, and there's something to be said for that. I've started doing that myself, but all I'm saying is, no, you don't have to buy the new version each year, and that's fine. But there's a value to doing it for a lot of people, and that's why it's still a thing that people do. You would think, you said it yourself, if the engine isn't perfect, then I would refuse to buy it, but if the engine isn't perfect, then why wouldn't you buy a new one? Because then maybe it will be perfect, or at least it'll be better and more tolerable. Plus, you gotta realize there's a ton of value to a sports fan in getting fully updated rosters and some new functionality.
Yep.
And, like, while I understand as a customer it might be nice to have, like, oh, I just want the same old version of this game but with new rosters, like, cool, but that sucks. Like, that's not the way of the world. Lots of stuff sucks and it's not customer friendly.
Yeah, but you can probably change that. I'm saying as a consumer, you can stand, like, don't accept it if it's something that you don't like.
But
if it's the only game in town, yeah, that means you won't have to play a new game for a while.
yeah, but I'm saying obviously people do accept it.
Right, that sucks.
Why? It sucks for you,
Why is it?
but doesn't suck for them necessarily because they're willing to do it. Like, the proof's in the pudding.
Well, that's
It's
just like saying, like,
happening.
anybody with a gambling addiction can just keep on gambling. I mean, they're just doing it by
How
themselves.
is that the same at all? That's completely different.
No, it's like,
A gambling addiction?
to me, it's demand more from your entertainment, I guess. Because that was the way it used, to me, that kind of business model is an anachronism. Because that was the way it had to be beforehand, like when it was in the cartridge days, where it's like, we got a brand new feature. Now you can actually see people with your 6-button controller and throw them that way, when like the 3-panel windows came up in Madden and shit.
Right.
Like, a new feature like that, of course it's going to take a new box copy release, because that's something that they couldn't, like, say, here's your update cartridge, we'll sell it to you for a lesser price, but it's the same game.
Understood.
See, that, you couldn't do that, but now you can. And so, it makes sense from a business perspective to handle it this way. But from a consumer respect and actual, like, game-making perspective, that's terrible.
Well,
And you know, and like you said, it does suck, and that's how it is, but it doesn't have to be.
Well,
if people don't want it to be.
whatever. That's okay.
Maybe I'm putting too much stock in people?
Yeah, you obviously are, because look at everything. Well, that's like people who are like, why can't my cable bill be $10 and I get free HBO and ESPN and everything that I want, all for the price that it's worth to me? That's not how the free market
right,
works.
but that's to them. That's an individual case. Like, I just want to buy, like, for $5, I just want HBO. It's like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Well, the whole thing's stupid because there's a real market for everything. Now, I will give you this. The exclusivity licensing of games is a
Which
bummer.
is probably why we don't see a lot of arcade sports or any other types of sports games anymore either.
Well, and like, you know, the whole argument that there used to be more spirited innovation back in the day was at least partially because there were competitors. Like, EA wasn't the only game in town. 2K Sports had its 2K franchises, you know, and their basketball franchise is outstanding. It's way better than
shit's all over NBA Live.
Lives were. And like, their hockey games were like pointlessly convoluted, as were their baseball games. They were very, like,
different,
way too feature heavy, like way more like, you think what EA is doing is technical compared to an arcade game. 2K Sports is like reading a fucking diagram of how to build a battleship, and it's all written in technical writing.
It's all written in, like, the language from, like, the Alien movies.
God, it's so much harder. Like,
Cybertronian.
I'll never forget, by the way, quick side story, the last 2K game I played of hockey was, I think, 2K7.
Wow.
And they had, like, I think that's the last one they made.
Right.
But they had, like, a cinematic presentation mode where, like, there would be an orchestral score to the game, and, like, depending on how dramatic it got, the music's drama would increase.
Awesome!
It was pretty silly, though.
See, it's funny, too, because you mentioned that, because, like, one of the things for me in terms of, like, games and stuff, like, whatever you say about programming, like, if you have a base thing going for it, it shouldn't be too easy to, like, implement something new in a game. So, removal of features to me is just stupid.
Agreed.
Keep things in. But, so when I hear something like that, that is silly, but that's awesome.
I will say this, though. It was definitely counteracted by the fact that they had, like, voice actors for, like, on-ice audio during the presentation mode, but they were all, like, North American. So you'd have Peter Sikora pass to Yager, and Yager would score, and they'd skate over the boards and be like, good job, boys! Great setup, boys! It's like, oh, yeah, that's how I expect Jaromir Yager to sound.
He sounds like some fucking, like, Canadian guy they pulled off the
That's exactly what it was, and they had just, like, a small handful, so it's like, Alex Ovechkin scores! He's like, woo! Goal! It's like, yeah, okay. You lost me. You 100% lost me.
I need a new car.
I also like, this is a little off topic again, but one of their other features was an antagonize button.
Oh,
you could
that's
point
cool.
at a player and hit the bumper, and your, like, enforcer/pest would go just, like, rough him up totally illegally. And they had a color gauge this is how stupid this is. They had a color gauge to show how angry they were getting.
That's awesome.
So I played a game where all I did was just go antagonize Crosby, and by the end of it, he was furious, and he just kept taking penalties and trying to fight people. I was like, okay, this...
Okay, Crosby, no.
No, I was like, this takes me
Sit
completely
down.
out of it, because if you did this in a game, that guy would get his ass beat before he even touched Crosby. And Crosby's the one doing the fighting himself. Like, he never snaps.
No.
All I'm saying is,
Oh, my God.
I do miss that there were, like, competitive layers to games, and you had a real consumer choice.
Yeah, he did. And now that there really isn't any, there's really no push to innovate or change. So that's
Well-
just kind of, that, to me, as somebody who, like, enjoys sports to some reasonable facsimile, when I bought FIFA, like, I wanted a soccer experience, and to be honest, nobody buys FIFA to play a lot of MLS. I'm sure a lot of people do, but...
I mean, I guess you'd probably be surprised, but...
Right, but to me, in order to get that MLS experience, you actually have the stadiums that the MLS teams play at. You have all of the things that kind of make that... The same amount of dedication that they put into the Premier League stuff. Like, you're playing in, like, those actual stadiums and shit.
Yeah.
So I want that same kind of attention and care and detail put into, like, our league.
Well, there has to be a point where it's... there's only so much they can reasonably be expected to cram into one game. Like, if you, like, I hate to use the, slippery slope argument, but what's the final line? Like, then are you throwing in all the stadiums in South Africa and Ghana and Belize to appease everyone else there? Like,
Well, to me...
the MLS is what it is, and it's effectively, on the world stage, a minor league right now.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you only have so much disk space. Like, it's cool. It's going to sound really shitty, but, like, you should be thankful that the MLS is in it.
yeah.
Period.
See, to me, it's that kind of situation where this is where the responsibility aspect of it comes into me. Because if you're going to be the only game in town, you better cater to everybody.
Well, I don't know, I guess, but at the same time...
Unless they wanted to just make like an MLS version of their soccer franchise, have it play the same, but instead of having all of the Premier League stuff, you just have that.
I don't know. Maybe this is not fair, but, like, what MLS stadiums are there that are iconic?
To me, because we live where we live...
Well, whatever, but, like, I guess the most iconic example of home field advantage, you could argue, would be, like, the Sounders, because they play at CenturyLink Field, right?
Sure.
But that's not a soccer licensable stadium. Like, that's a football stadium.
But they have the license for that, too.
That's what... Yeah, well... Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. It's a lot of extra work to throw in every arena.
To me, it comes down to a matter of, like, responsibility for being the only game in town. That's what it comes down to. Like, if I have an
lot of
experience,
stadiums in the game.
if I have an experience that I want, and it's not being a part of the game, and they're saying, "Hey, we have a soccer game. Why don't you play?" It's like, no, because it doesn't have what I want.
That's ridiculous. It has
What do you mean that's
everything
ridiculous?
you want except for one little thing.
Not one thing.
Does this-
a lot of things.
does the
Because I'm
stadium
sure that there's
matter
at
that
least
much to
one
you?
per. Yes.
Why?
Also, gameplay. Because
Gameplay's way more important.
gameplay is way more important. But we talked about gameplay already.
I'm saying if they gave you the perfect game, every aspect of it was exactly what you wanted, but it didn't have authentic MLS stadiums, would you still refuse to buy it?
No.
Good.
No. Because that's too good of an argument.
Yeah.
To me, it's a compound of things. Like, if I don't like the way the game
Obviously.
plays, if it doesn't cater to what I really want from the leagues, or if it does things to me, like, I was in the middle of a career mode, it wouldn't let me quit my game or some shit. I'm like, no, you don't get to tell me when I don't get to quit my game. Turn off the system. Fuck you. But, it's just, I don't know. Like, I value certain things from certain experiences in games, and I wish we still had them. And we still do, because, yeah, I have my copies of Tecmo Bowl, Tecmo Super Bowl, Blades of Steel, and all those games up there.
Right.
But, I don't know. It would be cool to have a franchise or a game that had actual, like, old-school game design sensibilities with, like, a new school budget.
Yeah.
That would be kick-ass.
It'd be cool, but... I don't know. I don't know what to say. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen for a while, but it'd be cool.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I can't get down. As someone who wants to enjoy, I try to see myself as a way broad-based gamer. I play lots of different types of games. I appreciate all different types of games. But this is just like, this is what I can't get into. And I'm just like, I can't do it. And it makes me a little sad. I want to be a part of that, but I can't.
You should apologize because you're so clearly wrong. You owe EA an apology for slandering their great name.
I would. Never mind. I was gonna something with fire.
Way to really throw it out there.
Yeah. So, yeah, at the end of the day, like, what's funny, too, is let's end up on a high note, okay? So,
Sure.
to me, like, my favorite racing games and sports games are, like, Punch-Out and F-Zero and shit.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause,
well,
like-
I mean, they're totally different, right?
Yeah, in terms of, like, but it's in terms of, like, the design value. Like, if I want to do, like, fast racing, like, I can go get, like, Gran Turismo and play the simulation way, or I could pick up a copy of fucking F-Zero GX for the GameCube, which is the fucking most kick-ass game
Any
ever.
of the Mario Karts. Everyone loves Mario Kart.
And so, like, the
Which
inherent...
is awesome, because, like, it's not a mutually exclusive world, like,
Yeah.
right? Like, I am just as likely to have fun playing Super Simulator NHL 14, 15 as I am to play Mario Kart.
Mhm.
It's like, because, whatever, there's a place for both.
It's an experience. It's something that you value. It's a core design and gameplay experience. And that's what I value from it. Like, Punch-Out is not a boxing game, but it is a boxing game. You know what I mean?
Punch-Out is definitely not a real boxing game.
But it is a boxing
Just
game.
because most of the people you fight don't actually box you, they more just illegally, like,
Dude.
kick you and hair whip you.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the fun and, like, charm and character comes into it, too. Like, to me, that's a more of a testament to design and character and flair and individuality and so much good. Like, that's me valuing things like that.
What are you talking about? Who can forget that time in Fight Night Champions when you had to fight Bear Hugger in the prison?
Ew! Ew!
Yeah, well, I mean, come on.
Okay.
If there had to be a Punch-Out person that
Dude,
ended up in prison,
let's dance!
wouldn't it
Yeah,
be Bear
yeah.
Hugger?
Aaron Ryan.
No, it'd be Bear Hugger for illegally moonshining.
I would say it's Aaron Ryan for just getting into it. He'd be in, like, the drunk tank after he boxed somebody in the street. Fucking...
Sounds about right.
And we're Irish.
Whatever, not fully.
Just destroy the
What?
illusion.
You want to own that?
I'm
Why would
also
you
black.
Why would you? What? No, you're not.
Oh, so you do see color now.
Nice.
Anyway, like, so speaking of Fight Night, actually, that was, like, the last great, like, EA game I fucking played to death. Like,
What?
Fight Night Round 3.
Oh, nice. That was a good one.
Dude,
Although, I mean, it had its problems too.
it had its problems, but to me, it's all a matter of its actual... It serves its design. Like, what would you say would be a problem?
That every fight they say the exact same, like 6 lines of dialogue.
You know-
That the game mechanics are essentially you pick a fight, you do one of 3 training things, and then you fight, and then you repeat that like 40 times.
Right, but you wouldn't really... Like, in terms of what would you want more from that, but
More,
then that's me playing devil's advocate like you.
God forbid.
God forbid I see from another perspective, ever.
Well, like, I
Did
don't
I
know.
kill myself before I saw things through your eyes? Jesus.
Wow.
Oh, no, because, like, I mean, you can... I'm not going to be the person who, like, looks at it through revisionist history. That game is just a good game through and through.
It's fun,
Like,
but like it's not
Problems and all and stuff like that. To me, it's the perfect melding of an actual gameplay experience with, like, the whole licensed broadcasting, real fighters and stuff. Like, the simulation aspects of it are there because you have the real boxers. You have, like, ESPN, Wednesday night fights and stuff.
And
And
you have a shit ton of sponsorship crammed down your
like
fucking throat.
like Dodge Caliber, Under Armour,
And
Burger
when
King
the
trophy.
Burger King becomes your trainer.
And his
Oh.
specialty is heart.
I think it'd be funny if they said specialty heart and then parentheses wrote disease.
Ha!
I mean,
That'd be awesome.
be truer.
Yeah, and there's a lot we could actually go into there because I don't like sponsorships in a lot of games. Like, it makes it more authentic, but if those savings aren't passed on to me, the consumer, fuck that. I don't want commercials in my games.
Yeah, nor do I.
But, like, to me, that game, in terms of its design of a boxing...
Mountain Dew.
So good, Game Fuel. Get your Dew and Doritos. We didn't
can't-
whisper that one at all.
I was trying to come on, man.
Get your Doritos.
Have you ever heard subliminal advertisements before? You're like, well, by definition, no.
Yeah. But you know what? I could go for a refreshing Mountain Dew.
Rob a liquor store.
Anyway, perfect balance between actual gameplay design and fucking full-on, like, the real simulation of, like, a broadcast of a boxing match with actual commentators, shit like that.
Sure.
The experience was there, and it had, like, kind of cheesy moments where, like, oh, some drama at the weigh-in as they threw down. It's like, what? Okay, whatever. It's like in
actually
Fight Night Champion when, like, you get, like, beat up in the shower because you're in, like, the prison boxing ring.
Yeah.
What?
I have not made it super far through that game. That game feels weird.
Yeah.
That game makes
And now they don't make them anymore.
That gives me a very uncomfortable vibe to play.
Yeah.
Like, I'm worried...
It's an M-rated fucking boxing game.
I'm worried that if I keep playing, it's going to get to be like that scene from American History X where he forces the guy to bite the curb and he stomps on him.
God.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
I don't want to watch that movie for that reason.
Yeah, it's a messed up movie.
Okay. I want to on a high note.
It was a good movie.
It was a good...
I like that you say you want to end it on a high note, and the thing that preceded that was Fight Night Champions or whatever, dude getting beaten up in the shower. You have a weird definition of high note.
No! High note in terms of let's talk about fun games. Like, to me, the best football game things you could ever do, like, keep the Tecmo Bowl engine and then give it, like, its new rosters like the fans are doing.
Well, I mean, that'd be pretty cool, but at the same time, I don't know, man. I'd end up clamoring for more.
It's to me, it depends on what you value in terms of the more. If you want those updated rosters, you got them.
Tecmo Bowl is a terrible example, though, because that game's basically tic-tac-toe. If you guess the other
but that's the matter of simple mechanics. That's the matter of, like...
It also isn't skill-based at all, then.
Yeah, it is.
What's the skill in guessing right?
Not the skill isn't in the guessing. The skill is in actually executing your play, because you can still be bad at a game.
Yeah, but at the same time, that learning curve on that is like 5 minutes, and then you're an expert.
Yeah,
There's no more
that's
complexity
fun.
to it. It's fun, but
I would prefer things to be a bit more inclusive, I guess. I would, because to me, simple doesn't mean bad or uncomplicated or even less exciting. It just means it's more accessible.
I'd prefer you sack up and play a game for more than 10 minutes before you decide it's too unapproachable.
Oh, pay $60 and play for like 3 days and then realize it's shitty?
You're also acting like $60 is the price you have to pay. Yeah, that's if you camp out at midnight and you go get it from EV Games or whatever exists now. You can wait like a month and then it's half price.
I should do that.
Well... a lot of people do. So you're like, wow, hedge that a little more.
Jeez, Archer, calm down.
Some, no people do.
I don't know. I think there was just some more points I was trying to get at, but like, I don't know. I think it all just kind of sums up to me, like, it's always going to be a weirdly continuing anachronism. And you should demand more from your products and your entertainment if this is going to be the tone that it sets. Like when NHL 15 came out and it was just gutted.
Well, I mean, I agree.
They're already selling that game, like, when did that game out? Like September?
Yep.
Yeah, they're already selling it like on Xbox for like $20.
Yeah.
That's not a good product.
Well, the first game of a new generation never is. Because of the engine tweaks and because it was made for a new console. And, like, those are always bad. Like, Madden 06 for the 360 is an unplayable mess. But it got better in 07, and it got better in 08.
All right. As long as it's getting better.
It is.
And you'll tell me that.
I did.
Ooh, if every single hockey game had the anniversary mode in it, I would play it every year.
Well, yeah. I mean,
just sell that to me. I'd buy that standalone. Then again, I also have all of the cartridges.
Yeah, that's true. So
why
would you?
We should play that after this.
I don't know that we can.
All right, whatever.
We're running out of time. I hate to Jack Bauer you.
We're running out of time.
God, it was when
we only have 24 hours.
When we were in 24 season 4,
sure.
My buddies and I were in college, and this is unrelated to the topic, but
what diversion isn't
during the season finale, we played a drinking game about it, and
every time he says,
my roommate was like, okay, whenever he says we're running out of time, you drink. Whenever he kills a guy, you drink. And then my wild card, whenever he does something delightfully secret agent-y, you drink. And I was like, that's a pretty lenient, very sketchy definition of when we should drink. I like it.
I'm gonna take it.
And then at the end, after we'd all had a couple drinks, we were like, "There's a submarine drink." It was awesome.
It's like the Jaws drinking game. Anytime someone says shark,
Oh God.
you would be dead.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so any kind of closing statements you want to impart? Because I've said my piece a lot.
I mean, I guess you're right insofar as there's no accounting for taste, but I don't get the sense that the simulation esports world is anywhere near as bad as you think it is, or, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it serves a market that's more than happy to pay for it and get a lot of utility and value out of it. So, I don't know.
That's all you really need.
It sucks for you that there's not like a cool, fun $5, $10 arcadey one released every so often, but doesn't that make you appreciate the ones that you have all the more?
You know what? It actually kind of does.
There you go.
Because I have my Neo Geo X right over there, and I got my Super Sidekicks game on. I love it.
There you go. See?
It's that kind of shit where people who get into nerdy debates about a new Ghostbusters is ruining my childhood because they're doing all-female cast. How dare they? It's like, yeah, the older movies still exist. You're being stupid.
Yeah. Well, and I love people already prejudging that because it's like, oh, cool, 4 women. That'll be funny. It's like, wow, you people are assholes.
Yeah, it's gotten worse.
Can I just say, we were at work the other day talking about that movie, and I suggested that the ghost that they bust in the new one be Harold Ramis. It may be seen as too soon to some, but I think he would have wanted it.
And then
I think he would have wanted it that
shows
way.
up.
See,
and then
I think he would have wanted that sort of irreverence.
Ask Bill Murray, see if he's cool with it.
I will next time I see him.
Next time I kill him, and then he can be a ghost in the movie too. The next time I kill him.
Bill Murray's life in real life is like Groundhog Day. Even if he died, he'd come back tomorrow.
Total confession: I've never seen Ghostbusters, and I want to. People say it's a perfect movie, and I've been also told that Stripes is a better movie, so we'll figure it out.
Interesting.
Because Stripes was awesome.
Stripes is pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big Bill Murray fan.
All right, so
I know is sacrilege, but whatever.
Sacrilege. It's like, hey, this thing that everybody loves. Oh, Bill Murray.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
The Beatles. Really good food. Bill Murray. That's a tier.
Oh.
That's
nice.
Of things that everybody loves. The Beatles is over good food because I'm pretty sure people out there who are starving love the Beatles.
If you wanted to keep it in true Beatles fashion, you should have said Beatles and Jesus.
You see, I almost went there, but not in me.
It's in me. I did it.
It's in the game.
If I could whistle, I would whistle here, and that would be like the end.